Welcome in, everybody, to the Jays Digest pregame show. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. A lot of compelling storylines for tonight's matchup, for the series in general, between the Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm very glad to be back. I wasn't there in the last pregame stream, and the Jays didn't play yesterday, so it's felt like it's been 2 weeks since Blue Jays baseball, at least for on my end. I don't know about you, Nick, but I don't like off days. We always say, oh, it's a well-needed off day, and we're ready to go after that. But I wish there was baseball every day because I feel empty when the Jays are not playing.
Yeah, it's been forever. It's felt like I think you said 2 weeks. I'm assuming you meant 2 days, not
It felt like it was 2 weeks.
Oh, I see. Okay,
It felt
okay,
like it was
okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it felt
Yeah.
so long. Yeah, because you were missing the other one too. It was a weird off day because it was after an afternoon game too, which is
Thanks, Jacob.
interesting.
Appreciate it.
Nick, the Cardinals were on one of the bigger winners. They were, Matt. They were. There's something on my nose and I don't know what it is. Let me get it off. Hey boys, how's it going here? Like I knew if someone was gonna compliment it, it does look good. Toronto International or Internal. I hope Teo versus Swanson in the 8th. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but maybe they do. But yeah, what's up, Owen? What's up, everyone? It's gonna be an interesting one. It's gonna be a interesting one, and let's just get into lineup previews. We have some interesting lineups today. Our hottest hitter is not in the lineup, unfortunately. No Danny Jansen, but let's get into the lineup here now. We have Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Chapman, Varsho, Kirk, Belt, Merrifield, and Kiermaier. Peter, what are your any thoughts on this lineup?
Yeah, it sucks to not see Danny Jansen in there, but against Luis Castillo, you got to get as many lefties in there as possible because if you remember in that wild card game one, those right-handed hitters, including Teoscar Hernandez, could do nothing against Luis Castillo. He was paint on the corner, and that's what happens when you don't have a lefty
We got
in your
a
lineup. And
we got a Mo.
we'll get to Mo. We'll get to Mo right now, but yeah, you got to get as many lefties in there as possible, and I like the lineup today.
All right, Mo. A shout out to my dad's cousin. He passed away on Monday night. Rest in peace. With that said, let's go Jays. I'm sure he's rooting for them wherever he is. Sorry to hear that, Mo. That is unfortunate.
My condolences.
Yeah, condolences there, and yeah, I'm sure he is rooting for him wherever he is. I'm sure he's in a good place. I'm sure so. Condolences for that. Thank you for the donation, but get some.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Jays could go out there and get a big win for your dad's cousin, your uncle, I assume. But yeah, shout out to you, Mo, and my condolences once again. And stay strong, brother. Get through it.
Hopefully baseball will help you keep your mind occupied for the night. But yeah, sorry to hear that. But I agree with what you said about Luis Castillo. Get the lefties in there. He throws absolute gas. No Biggio, which is also lovely in this case because he wouldn't be able to catch up to Castillo there. We get to keep Merrifield in, which is another good thing. Get to keep Merrifield in the lineup, and yeah, I mean give Belt another chance, but I don't know how I feel about Belt too much. But anything else you want to touch on? What's up, Shane?
Yeah, just in general, I think if you can go out there and win this game, I would slightly lean towards the Mariners in this matchup tonight, just because of Luis Castillo and how dominant that he's been to start out the year. If it wasn't for Garrett Cole, we'd be thinking that Luis Castillo is running away with the Cy Young early on. But obviously, it's still only 5 starts in, and we got to give it a bit more time. But he has looked dominant. I think a sub-1 ERA, if I'm not mistaken.
It was near that when I last looked. Yeah, unless he had
yeah. So I remember that he was at 0.84.
1.52. 1.52 now.
Yeah, I mean that was probably because of his last start there, but he's been so good. Yeah, and it's a tough matchup. But if you can go out there and win this game tonight, then I could see another sweep happening for the Toronto Blue Jays because they got the edge in tomorrow's matchup with Kevin Gausman. I believe it's
Chris
Marco
Flexen.
Gonzalez.
I think it's Chris Flexen, and then Marco.
And then it's Marco Gonzalez on Sunday against Chris Bassett. So
yeah.
The Jays got the edge. The Jays got the edge in the rest of the series, but can they go out there and steal game one against one of the hottest pitchers on the planet? That's the main storyline here.
And the Jays are on fire. They going for their 5th straight win, and I mean obviously.
Yeah.
Whoa, Mo. All right, Peter. I'll let you read this one. Huge shout out, Mo.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. I'll let you read it
out. Thanks, guys, and hopefully this will bring good fortune to the Jays for the season and the Maple Leafs. He was a big Maple Leafs fan. Now I'm I'm personally not a Maple Leafs fan, but I've actually been rooting for them every step of the way, and the Montreal Canadiens aren't in there, so I've been all in on the Leafs hype train. One of our good friends, Zach Phillips, who runs Leafs Digest, great guy, so that's also made me want to pull for the Leafs as well, and hopefully they can get out of the first round and exercise those demons and. Wherever your dad's cousin is or wherever he's watching from, I'm sure he's going to be rooting hard for the Leafs on Saturday night because that's that's going to be a big game, and this is going to be a big series for the Blue Jays. Ton of
Lots
sports
of
going on.
yeah,
Great time to be just a sports fan in general, especially a Toronto fan because it's been real exciting. And thanks again, Mo,
yeah.
for your
No,
continued
it's
support. Hopefully you and your family can spend the time that you need together and get that support that you guys need to get through this.
yep. And yeah, I'm a Jets fan, and their time ended, so we're going for the Leafs now. Going for the Leafs, and well, I know you DM me about the Jets. It was I responded. It was an unfortunate loss for the Leafs. Jays with the win for Mo and his family. Let's do it. Let's do it. So that's why they're losing. A Habs fan is cheering for us. Maybe that's why, Peter. Maybe you need to turn off tomorrow. Time for some.
No, 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 no. I thought I brought them good luck actually watching the first four games. I'm like, wow, this is a new team. It must be because of me. Must be the good luck that I'm bringing to them. But I guess not.
I'm a Jets
Guess
fan
not.
too, but I'm rooting for the Leafs. Yeah, me and Mo are both Winnipeg Jets fans. It's
Hey,
not going
shout
very
out.
well. No shutout no shutout to the
You see
Jets.
what
They're
Rick
horrible.
Bonus?
Yeah, he wasn't
You see
happy.
what Rick Bonus?
He
He
wasn't
was
happy.
not happy. He said
Go
this.
Habs,
What did he
go.
say? He's like they have no
Disappointed.
pushback.
No
No
pushback.
pushback.
Disappointed. Hopefully
Poor
John
Rick
Schneider doesn't
Bonus.
have anything similar to that, and hopefully the Jays win the World Series. But let's move on to the Mariners lineup. Go Habs, go! I know a lot of you guys are Habs fans as well, but we have Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, Jared Kelenic, who is having a resurgence year after having a couple of horrible years. Yes,
Mhm.
Suarez. I'm not going to try to pronounce his first name. I always mess it up. Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Raleigh, J.P. Crawford, Colton Wong hitting last, and Caballero hitting eighth, with Luis Castillo on the hill. And what are your thoughts on this lineup? It was also interesting. For some reason, it didn't register in my brain that it's 4:07 in Seattle time,
Mhm.
which is interesting to me. But either way, what are your thoughts on this in the afternoon game for any Seattle fans?
Seattle has been struggling,
Very
and they
much.
have not looked good on the offensive end of the spectrum. And Jared Kelenic has been their best hitter, and that makes absolutely no sense to me. He's been phenomenal. He's been hitting home runs left, right, and center, and he looks like the highly touted prospect that he was once brought up to be, and he's finally starting to pan out. So good for him. He's always been an exciting player, just hasn't been able to put it together. But the big story here is obviously Teoscar Hernandez, and I'm going to let you jump in here soon, Nick. But I hope the fans give him the reception that he deserves. And once we get into the rapid fire, I'm going to ask you, a spoiler alert, what your favorite Teoscar Hernandez memory is. But we'll save that for a little bit later. But I just hope that he gets the reception that he deserves because despite his defense in the outfield and maybe some mental mistakes every now and then, I really did enjoy watching him as a player, and he was such a joy to watch on the offensive end that you kind of brushed over whatever he did on the defensive end and base running because he was that good with the bat. And hopefully he can have a good year and get paid in free agency because he deserves it. He's a good guy. He's a great clubhouse guy and always was a fun Blue Jay. I think it was just time to move on because the core wasn't working, but I'm happy for him, and I hope he can figure it out there in Seattle.
Yeah, me too. I think he'll get a standing ovation. He definitely deserves it. It's not like he
He
requested.
deserves it.
I don't think he requested a trade. I think both sides just knew that something needed to be changed. Ryan Bennett saying you went and cut the hair. You're not supposed to change anything during a win streak. He got a point there. He got a point there.
I had
Um,
it was getting outrageous. I couldn't
yeah,
keep it anymore.
they got a decent. They do have a pretty good lineup. Like on paper, it's a very deep lineup. It's pretty strong, but like you said, they've been struggling, and Teoscar has really struggled to start the year, and now he's starting to pick it up a little bit. So hopefully he doesn't hit a home run today. That would be. I just don't want to see a Swanson home run given up versus Teoscar. That would just be devastating. But
that would.
but yeah,
I think we kind of need the two to face off, though. We need
yeah.
the two to face off,
Well, we
and
don't
it'll
need it.
be it'll be
I'd love winning 10-0 with Nate Pearson facing him. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'd like that too. I'd like that too. But against Luis Castillo, I don't know how realistic that is.
Let's go into our best bet, and then we'll move into the rapid fire because I also have a rapid fire for you. I have mine. It's a really quick one, but Peter, I'll let you get yours if you are betting. Of course, bet
Mhm.
responsibly and all that. But just very quickly, best bet. Cause I want to get into the rapid fire because that was a really good question about Teoscar, and I think I mean I have one that's probably pretty obvious, but
Yeah. So my best bet of the day is actually going to be one for the Seattle Mariners, and I'm going to go with Luis Castillo over 5.5 strikeouts. It's at -120 right now. For whatever reason, he gave the Jays a lot of fits in that wild card game, and they could just not figure him out. I can't remember off the top of my head how many strikeouts he had,
a
but he
lot.
was just phenomenal. Pinpoint control. His slider was working. His fastball was moving in every direction, and I think he's going to look good. He's going to keep it up tonight. So I'm going to go over 5.5 strikeouts with Luis Castillo. What's yours, Nick?
I like it. I'm just gonna go under 8.5 runs. I think both pitchers do good. I think it's gonna be like a 3-2 game, or something similar like that. So that's
Sign me up, man.
yeah,
Sign me up
that's
for that.
mine. And let's move on to the rapid fire, and I'll answer your Teoscar question here now. And again, hit the like button. Let's get to 25 likes. We're at 7 now, so let's get to 25 before stream ends. But I'll answer your rapid fire, and I thought about a couple, and the one that I mean, I think the two closest ones for me would be the wild card home run, but that ended up just being a loss anyway. There's 2 home runs in game two. I'm gonna go with the opening day blast because that was like the
Yeah.
most excited. I was watching it with friends, and I was like, that's the most excited I've been about any Blue Jays moment probably since obviously 2016, the Donaldson dash. But I don't know. It was just the start of the season. It was an insane comeback. I'd go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was gonna say the same thing, but I can't not go with the 2 home run game in the wild card because I was there
Yeah.
and I was actually sitting on the first baseline closer to the right field foul pole. So right where Teoscar Hernandez was in defense in the outfield. And I remember after he hit that second home run, he came back out in right field. It was an 8-1 game, and the fans just gave him a standing ovation. He tipped his cap and bowed down to the crowd. It was a phenomenal moment. And I was right there. I was sitting first row, and I was able to see him, and that was a very good moment for me. And obviously, opening day as well. I remember that game specifically. I had the Jays -1.5. And if you all remember
Oh
on
yeah.
opening day last season, they started out with a 7-0 deficit against the Texas Rangers. And then they tied it on that Teoscar Hernandez home run, and then Danny Jansen came up and made it a 2-run game with that home run. And my bet cashed somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, it did. It happened that day, and that was a good memory. That set up a pretty good regular season for the Blue Jays, and unfortunately, my favorite memory of Teoscar Hernandez was that
I like it.
collapse against
Yeah.
the Seattle Mariners.
I'll ask. That's a. What's up, Nick? Shane got to go. My Jack Daniels is almost empty. No worries, Shane. No worries. Get that before first pitch. But mine for you would be more about tonight's. It's not really tonight's game. Are you confident in Alek Manoah? And it's something Mike asked, but that was mine anyway. What is your confidence level in Alek Manoah for tonight and going forward after his very good start last time?
I've remained on the same train that I'm not worried about him. I think he'll figure it out. Is he due for regression after a 2.24 ERA? Yes,
I
that's
agree.
not sustainable over the course of a career, but is he a 6 ERA pitcher? No.
I think it's 3.5
So
ish, 3.3.
yeah, 3 to 3.5, and that's what I was expecting out of him this season. It might be tough to get to that 3 mark after his slow start, but I'm not worried about him. He's a workhorse. He's going to give you a chance to win every time he's out there, and this is really the first bad stretch of his career. He's been good ever since he got the call to the major leagues, and he hasn't looked back since. And I've been impressed with the way that he's bounced back. There was a lot of talk about him maybe not being the guy that we thought he was going to be, but he bounced back in Yankee Stadium, and I think that's what he needed, a matchup against Garrett Cole, and that got him fired up, and I think he's going to get on a roll now. I'm not worried about him. He's going to give you a shot to win every time he's out there on the mound, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think he'll be good today. This is if we win this game for our fifth in a row. I think like you said, we have the potential to sweep, but this is a big game in the sense of I don't know. It feels like a bit of a win-win to me. Like if we lose, I'm not gonna panic. We won 4 in a row, whatever. But if we win, it's a really good sign. But the AL East is on fire. The Orioles are nuts.
Yeah.
The But their schedule has been weak, so I don't know.
Yeah, but they're going to go on a losing streak. Like
Eventually,
right now, I don't know what Tampa's winning percentage is, but it's got to
so
be in like
80s, I
the
think.
800s.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's not sustainable. They're going to go on a slump and probably finish around the 65 mark,
I'd say.
62 to 65. So they're going to slump eventually, and I'm not worried about it, man. I'm really not. I think the Jays are on a good pace right now. They're starting to hit their stride. Their pitching is looking better. If they can start to click on all cylinders, then they're going to be a dangerous team.
Brosa Saint just got here and saw the 100 at the top. Didn't even need to check who it was. Yeah, huge shout out to Mo again for the 100. I'll throw it in there one more time for him. The $100 donation. His support's unbelievable. Thank you, thank you. It was crazy. But yeah, do you have any other rapid fires before we move on to the bold prediction?
I actually want to ask you one more,
Sure.
and I had one, but now it slipped my mind for whatever reason. Okay. Um, okay, you know what? I'll ask you this. I'll
Okay.
ask you this. It's not the question I had in mind, but I don't remember what I had in mind, so I'll switch it over. So, if you were the Blue Jays at last year's deadline, what would the package have been to go out and get Luis Castillo? What would you have given up to go out and get him?
That's a good question. I forget who the Mariners gave up, but wasn't it like 4 out
A
of their
lot.
5 top
It was
prospects
yeah.
or
It
something
was
crazy?
Noelvi Marte was the top prospect that they gave up, who's going to be an absolute stud. He's so good at shortstop. But I
Pearson's
mean,
up, Gary. Pearson's up. He pitched
yeah,
2 days ago.
yeah. But they gave up a lot. They gave up a lot, but they did re-sign him for 7 years. So
So
that's
I
another
guess
storyline.
last in hindsight now, you can check and answer that as well. I guess what process would you? I think it would have took. I'm trying to think now back to last deadline. Who was okay? So Gabby hadn't have been called up then at that point. So it probably would have been. It probably would have been Gabby and Tiedemann. You'd think, right? At
Would you
least
have done that?
it probably would have been Gabby Tiedemann and then like a couple of the other like top, maybe a Jordan Groshans too, assuming we hadn't have traded him away. Would I have done it? That's a phenomenal question. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have done that. But at the time, I would have. But now, knowing what I know about Tiedemann, no. There we go. That's my answer.
I would
But
have done it.
yeah, I mean, he's
I'd still
amazing. Yeah,
look at Luis Castillo,
he's
man.
nuts.
You're getting a pitcher in his prime who and I've said this before. Remember when I asked you if you would trade Tiedemann for Luzardo straight up?
Yep.
And I don't know what you said. I can't
I
remember what
think
you
I
said.
said maybe, probably not. I
But the
think I was.
poll that we had out there was like 70% no. And my argument was Luzardo is what you want Tiedemann to be,
Yeah.
right? So if you're trading Tiedemann for
Now, if it was
uh,
Tiedemann for him straight up, I would have done it. But Gabby wouldn't have gotten us Vershow now in hindsight, so it all would have.
that's true.
It all
That's a
kind
good
of.
point.
But at the time, I probably
That's
would have, if because like, but in hindsight, I don't think. I think I still would have tried. I think the answer would be, I still would have tried to make a trade for him at the time. I definitely would have, knowing what we know now. I just don't know what if we would even had enough though. Is another point.
yeah, I don't know if they would have had. That's a good point. That's a good
And I
point.
don't
But
think
yeah,
they did it
it's
because they knew
interesting
they
to
were going to
think
change
about.
their outfield. I feel like anyway. I feel like last deadline they had an idea if it didn't work out they were getting rid of Teoscar and Lourdes, or at the very least they weren't going to re-sign them. So they probably knew. I don't know. Who knows? They shouldn't. That worst trade at the last deadline was the Dodgers one. Nick Frasso for Mitch White though. That's going to end up being.
Yeah,
That's going to be a
that
disaster.
was a bad one. But you're right though. You're right that the Jays probably wanted to give this core one final chance
Yeah,
to make it work, and then it didn't work, and it was time for a major
and it was
overhaul. But
too late for
I guess
Castillo.
selling the farm, not selling the farm for Luis Castillo was
Worked
a
out.
sign that maybe they weren't that confident in the core to
And we
make a
said,
run,
yeah,
even
we
with
said
him.
that at the deadline too. We said that at the deadline. They didn't go all in. They like kind of hedged their bets. I still think the Bass
That's
trade was
true.
good. I mean, the Bass trade ended up being excellent, really good for us. I should call it the pop trade at this point because that's really the asset that we got back for
Yeah.
Jordan Groshans. But that
You're
was an
right.
interesting time. I wish we would have got him. We were in the runs for him. It's just I don't know if it would have worked out. I think it would have depleted our. It wouldn't allowed us to make that first show trade for sure. So it probably would have been one or the other. And then at that
Yeah.
point, who knows? Who knows? I'm happy with the Varsho trade though. If we're on the topic of evaluating trades, I think Gabby's going
Me
to be
too.
good though. I just don't know how he's an elite defender too. His arm strength is unreal. I just don't know how much
He
he's
just
gonna
he,
his
I don't know
power
how much he would have contributed now. That's
agreed.
the problem.
Or even over the
And the
next
Jays
yeah.
Yeah, the Jays want to win now, so that was the big issue. And I'll address Gary's question here. What does it take to re-sign Chapman right now? I think this is the worst time to try and
A
re-sign him.
lot.
Maybe wait for a little bit of a slump there, Gary. Then I'd go out and throw the money at Chapman. But um, at this moment in time, probably 125,
Or more,
six
yeah.
150,
Yeah.
150. Yeah,
The only thing that's fallen off,
around
and
there.
it's a bit scary, is his defense. Funny enough, it's actually like now I
Well,
test it pass, I test pass, but
yeah,
I do notice that his range isn't as good as like he knocks down a lot of balls, but he doesn't finish every. I don't know if you've noticed that. If you look back at his Oakland days, I'm talking about, and that's normal with age, but he's still a
and
great
and
defender.
and
Great
that
defender.
that hip injury, that hip surgery
Yes,
that
I
he
think
had too. He's not the same. He's not a
I agree.
platinum glover anymore,
I think
but
he's
I
a great
think he
defender. I
can
think that
be.
yeah, he's not a bottom tier. I think he's above average a lot, but he's not yeah, he's not the platinum. I'd say he's like probably top 70% defender in the league as opposed to before he was what top 95, top 100 even probably.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
that's a good point. That's a good point. But I don't like advanced
Yeah, it's hard for
metrics
defense.
for
It's
defense
hard
in
for
small
defense.
sample sizes,
I agree.
especially 20. Because if you make one error, you're screwed. You're
Yeah,
going to be at 3%, third percentile, outs above average until you make 25 plays in a row, and then if you dive and you knock it down, then you're back down to third percentile. So
it's
it's a
rough.
tough train. It's a
Hit the
tough
like
train.
button. We're close to 25, and let's move on to the bold predictions. We're around 10 minutes away from first pitch ish. I think it's 3. Oh,
15,
4.
15,
15.
15,
Right, yeah,
15
15. I
minutes.
don't... All right, bold predictions, Peter. We'll in chat. Let us know yours. Let's get 25 likes. We're a little bit away. We're 7 away, 8 away. All right, here's the lineup. Let's hear your bold predictions for today's game.
Is it bold to say both pitchers pitch into the eighth inning? Both
Yeah,
starters?
I'd say that's pretty bold.
That's
Bold
pretty
enough.
bold. Yeah. I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to go with Brandon Belt home run off Luis Castillo.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna go with Versho homers and this is tough. And Kirk homers. I don't know if he's had one homer, I believe, so far in the year. He's had one homer. Mo saying Castillo 7 innings, 12 Ks. Yeah, I could see it. I'm hoping it doesn't. Manoah pitches a complete game shutout. I like that. Whit Merrifield hits his first homer. To be honest, I don't understand a lot of the advanced metrics. It's one of those things. Austin Martin trade Bond, the Brios trade worked out. Yeah, Brios trade worked out. Whether like at the end of the day, it ended up being a good trade because Martin just absolutely tanked, completely fell off.
Woods Richardson is pretty good though.
He is.
He'll be up soon.
He's
So,
good.
but Barrios at the time it was a good trade because he's so reliable and never misses starts. Even to this day, even though he's had his struggles now, you could count on him to go out there every fifth day and eat some innings.
Yeah, I think we still do that trade in hindsight. I think they still do it, even what we
Yeah,
know now.
yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. Unless,
And you've said it too,
yeah.
Nick. You've said it too, man. Like when the Jays missed the playoffs by one game, if they got in the way that they were
Oh yeah,
playing,
we would
they
have
could have gone all the way. They
easily.
could have gone all the way. And Jose Barrios was pitching great down the stretch. And if they did get in and he pitched well, then maybe we wouldn't be talking about his struggles in the past couple of seasons. It would have given him some more confidence.
That's like the
And
biggest.
too bad.
I think that's the
It's a
biggest
big
like
what if.
what if of the past. I guess since 2015 for the Jays, but I don't even know if there was a what if in 2015 even. If actually there is a big what if. It was the 2015 playoffs. If Goins and Bautista, I think it was, didn't have that error at the start of that inning that led to the Royals coming back. But
I don't want to think
we
about
won't
that.
think about that too much. That was brutal. But from yeah, no,
Nasty.
I mean I think a lot of analysts even had them as like if they would have went in, I don't think anyone was stopping them. They had Robbie Ray, Marcus Semien was unreal. Like it was, he won the Cy Young,
But
Robbie
that's
Ray.
why
So
that's why they were so hyped. That's why they were so hyped coming into the next season because they just missed the playoffs and they were like that young darling, that young team that every analyst was all over and they wanted to see them win. And then they got a little too cocky, got to their heads and they weren't quite ready yet. But I think there's a different mentality with this team. I still think they need to clean up some things
better
and
this year though.
I haven't been impressed as much as I thought I would be so far with all the little things.
Which is crazy because our
they're,
record is like would be first
yes,
in every other division in baseball. I think. I think it actually
they're
would be.
finding ways to win. They're finding
It's not
ways to
pretty though.
win, but it has not always been pretty. But it's not going to be pretty all the time in a 162 game season. But I still want to see them just take steps. But they have been doing that in the past couple games, and I've been very happy to see that.
I've been extra happy with Bo Bichette's defense. Shout out to Bo. There's been a while since he's made a bad play.
Yeah.
Bad in the sense of an error. He's maybe he's slowly starting to get it. Maybe he's starting to find it. Maybe he
Game by game. Game by game.
His arm's looking good. I'm still daydreaming about the 2015 Jays. Yeah, that team was that was it. That was it right there. That was our we were favorites to win the World Series at that point. We were favorites. I remember they were by the time the playoffs came around. Maybe not before the season, but they were. I don't know if they maybe in second, but I know for a fact that some books had them as the favorites. I was like, I remember looking at it. I mean, our team was loaded. They were loaded.
Yeah,
and
that
we
was
went
so
all
much
in.
fun.
Went all in at the deadline. Tulowitzki,
With
Price,
David Price.
Lowe.
Oh my God!
Now
I'm getting flashbacks.
Bullpen was.
But
was
I don't know if Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro would do that ever. I don't think
they went
that's
all
their
in.
style.
And it's funny enough, none of those prospects really turned out. I guess Kendall Graveman, I don't even know if he was a part of any of those trades. I think he was.
But he's a reliever now. He's a reliever now in the White Sox.
They all worked out. And
I just don't think that Atkins and Shapiro have it in them because they come from a small market team in Cleveland. Now they're coming to a pretty big market in Toronto, and they're still operating in a small market way.
I think
it's like they're trying to maximize value. You know,
I think if we go on a crazy run, maybe even this year, who knows? Maybe especially this year because it's Matt Chapman's last year. Maybe they. But we don't have nearly as many prospects, I don't think, now as we did in 2015 to the sense of we do, but we have two blue chip prospects really in Barriera, whatever, and Tiedemann. Tiedemann's the big one. Who could Tiedemann get us at the deadline? We're kind of we're talking on now, but I don't know. But I think they maybe do if they really think they can win.
All right. Other rapid fire question for the chat here. If there is one guy you would go all in for, which means trading Ricky Tiedemann at the deadline, who are you trading him for? And don't get me
Ohtani.
Jose Ramirez.
No Ohtani either, even though he might be available.
No Jose Ramirez, no Ohtani, no guys that are unattainable, that are signed to long-term deals. Just give me one guy that you think puts this team over the edge, but you would trade Ricky Tiedemann in the process. I want to see him. I want to see him in the chat.
I'm going to try to think of one as well. I'm also trying to think of people who would actually be available at the deadline. But even teams like the Pirates are.
But do you think that'll last? You think that'll last?
Nah, no. Do you think Dalton Varsho deal compares to the blockbuster deals in 2015? I think they do, but not really in the same way. Because that was off-season deal compared to trade deadline deals. And and also they don't really compare because with the Dalton Varsho, I mean, kind of.
Trout is obtainable.
Brian Reynolds, okay. I mean, if he's available, but I think at this point now, the way he's playing, and Peter called it before the year that he'd have a great year, and he's on track for 7 WAR or something. For one, they're not going to trade him, but even if they did, it would take more than Tiedemann at this point, a good bit more. Corbin Burns is a very interesting one. He's a very interesting one.
That is a very good one.
I would.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so it doesn't involve trading Tiedemann, but let's say, okay, would you give up Brandon Barriera, Addison Barger, and Yosver Zulueta for Kyle Schwarber at the deadline?
Nah.
To DH every day instead of Brandon Belt?
I don't think so. I don't.
Okay,
maybe.
I'll take out Zulueta then.
I consider it that, but Barriera is nuts apparently. Now I haven't seen much footage on him, but he's pretty highly touted.
He's so far away though.
He is
so far.
I think
away.
It depends how we're doing at the deadline. I think it depends. I mean, if we're
I don't know if Philly would do that.
No, but it's interesting. I don't know if Schwarber. It depends how our DH. If Belt starts to come back a little bit, it would have to be a major upgrade where everyone else is not doing good at DH. But I don't know. I wouldn't do that anyway, simply because I think in the playoffs you DH Jansen with Kirk catching and vice versa. So then what would happen?
Really?
I think so. I think they do. I mean, if Jansen keeps hitting the way he's hitting,
There's an overwhelming no, so I look like an idiot right now. Anyways,
it's a good.
but
Nah, it's a
that is
good
a lot.
question.
That
It
is a
is a
lot
lot
to
for
give up for
Schwarber.
Schwarber.
But at the
It's a
same time,
lot
I
for
don't think you're
Schwarber.
getting anyone too much better for that package, anyways. Couldn't we have had
Really?
Schwarber? I mean, maybe you are, but I mean, people who are
Same.
available. I mean, people who are available. We could have had
Okay.
him as a free agent, yeah. But like again, he provides no defense, but he's a good hitter, very good hitter, power hitter.
A DH. DH.
And then yeah, that it would fill. I don't know. It's tough. How's the guy at the Rockies
Okay,
getting
so
on?
who's a guy then? Who's a guy? If it's not Schwarber, who's a guy then that you would do that for?
I don't know if there's many.
Is there someone?
I think it would more. I think honestly, I think it'd be more pitching, or bullpen rather than hitting. I think our hitting is gonna be all right. I think it would be either like a really good bullpen arm, or a number 5 pitcher if someone starts to like fall off a bit. But I mean, I guess for those prospects, you could get a higher end pitcher. I don't know. A Luis Castillo, if a similar player comes available, would be.
So like Corbin Burns.
I think Burns would be the key target there because I mean he would instantly. I mean, you can move one. I guess Kikuchi to the bullpen if it has that. I don't know. It'd be hard to fit him. It wouldn't be hard to fit him in because he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. But it would be like, if we have Corbin Burns, then do we become favorites? We become one of them. We become one of them.
Yeah,
Like that's
I
a
would think so.
Manoah,
I would think so.
Gosman, Barrios, Burns. I mean,
Yeah, Schwarber would piss me off to watch so many
yeah.
strikeouts. I understand that.
But
I
then he'll
understand, but
hit a
he's
home run and
so
you'll be
clutch,
fine.
man. He's so clutch, dude. In the playoffs, he's a different breed in the playoffs and in the World Baseball Classic too.
The only blockbuster deal I see happening is trading Bo for another shortstop or pitching. I think there is a like negative 100% chance, like 0% chance negatives that we trade Bo this year. There's like 0.
You never know.
That's a good
You
point.
never
I guess
know.
there could be if they don't think they're gonna re-sign him. But like he's like the one of the best shortstops in baseball. So I
Yeah,
don't.
but if his defense is the
True.
downfall of your team,
True. It
and you
hasn't
see
been.
that,
It
and you
was
think the
before.
rest of your but if you think the rest of your team is special enough to win, but not with Bo at shortstop,
It's fair.
then maybe you look to trade him for an ace.
I feel like that would be more of an. I guess maybe actually. Yeah. I
It
guess
would be a lateral. I feel like it'd be a lateral move, but like let's say I don't know, you trade him for a stud pitcher, an ace caliber pitcher, and then a Gold Glove defensive shortstop who swings a wet noodle. Then I think it makes your team better. I don't know, makes your team like
different.
similar but different.
I'm just
You're
off
not
the.
going to
I'm
beat
off the
teams
train
10
right
to
now because
10.
he's playing so well, both ends.
Fair
So,
enough.
but I mean, it's
Fair
recency bias. The difference between Castillo and Burns is Burns already leveled it up. It took it to young ton of the Mariners to fully unlock it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Castillo. Yeah, he did turn it up once he went to the Mariners. But any final questions or anything you want to say, Peter, before we do wrap it up? We're about a couple minutes away. Shout out to everyone in here. It was a really good stream. Shout out again, Mo, for the big $110 donation. We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Mo. Thank you, Mo. And my condolences once again, Mo. Hopefully you can find some peace and enjoy the game tonight, and enjoy the Leafs game as well on Saturday for your dad's brother over there. But thanks to each and every one of you for all the continued support. I'm very happy to be back. I felt empty for these last 2 days. I
felt
saw
weird.
the game I saw the series finale against the White Sox, and it just didn't feel the same. I didn't get to talk to Nick before the game. We were just texting each
It
other
was weird.
throughout, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. He was still texting me. I was still texting him back, but it's
You were
different.
locked in.
It's different.
You were locked in.
I was locked in, man, and I'm glad to be done with school now, at least for now. And we're gonna be grinding. We're gonna
Yeah.
be grinding each and every Jays game, and hopefully you guys can stick along for the ride because this has been super fun. And shout out to each and every one of you.
Yeah, and we'll be
again.
back tomorrow. We'll have a post-game video tonight following the game, and we'll have our stream there tomorrow. I think the game is like, what, 3 Eastern? It's something like that. It's an afternoon one, I believe. So.
307, yeah.
All right, so we'll see you then. Don't, Paul. I'm still working on that. We'll have it. Hoping to have those soon. It's in the background. I see your comments. Yeah, take it easy, and hopefully the Jays win. And we're talking about a great start to the series. But we'll see you guys later tonight for the video.
Thanks.